What's going on? Good evening, Mr. LeGree.
What's going on?
How you doing, my brother?
Oh, man, can't call it. Another good Sunday, man.
Feel good to be here with you today, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, man. You're doing a lot of stuff for the community, man. A lot of stuff for the game of basketball in general, man. It's real good to have you, man.
Yes.
So tell us a thing or two about yourself.
Well, let's start off with my name. My name is Jeffery LeGree Jr. I'm a native of California, and I grew up in the Bay Area, which is considered northern part of California. I'm the third oldest of 10 kids. Grew up, in certain situations. I played basketball growing up in this Bay Area, throughout the Bay Area, different AAU organizations. Played at one high school, Fairfield High School. And then, of course, after graduation of high school, I decided to go to college, but it wasn't for me in the beginning. So then after falling out of school, I wouldn't really say falling out of school. I would say I was kicked out of school because, I didn't have to do much in high school, I would say. I was just going to school to play basketball, passing classes at the bare minimum just to stay afloat. And then I decided to join the Army. And the Army took me many places, put me around many people to mold me to who I am today. That's why I say one thing the Army has taught me. Good thing is about good leadership, good people, good motivation, being motivated to do the right thing. And that is why I am who I am today. The Army has guided me to going back to school. Not proud to say, after high school, I wasn't able to, write essays. I wasn't able to read many books. I wasn't able to do the things that I'm doing today for, the kids in our community. And I'm so grateful to be in that place to where I can say, I'm a product of who I am today. So now today, while it's serving, I was able to play all-Army basketball. I was able to be around, different people that graduated school. I was able to be around good coaches while serving to tell me, hey, you need to go back to school. And by the time I went back to school towards the end of my military career, I was given the guidance to say, hey, I can do it. So then when I went back to school, I started off at Barstow Community College, where I played under Coach Reggie Howard. And that school, that year was a great year, I must say. I think we went like 24-3, 24-5, one of those two numbers. And we had a great team. A lot of the team went Division I. A lot of some of us went high major D2. And it was great. I would also say rest in peace to my backcourt, LeVan Pennington. He lost his life last month on his birthday. And that was like a brother from another mother for me, man. Believe it or not, I just say it in this documentary as a part of me and my bio. He woke me up. He took me underneath his wing. Even though he was younger than me, he made, I had dealing with different, battles of life and stuff like that. And he sat down and talked to me while I was on the bus. He made sure he pushed me to my extremist of potential while playing and stuff like that. And from there, from Barstow College, I should say, I went on to play at Shaw University under Cleo Hill. Now, Cleo Hill is a great guy. Man, defensive minded, loved it. The way he ran things is kind of how I kind of molded my coaching after him. The way he do things coaching is just phenomenal. He's won many CIAA championships. He has great winning seasons. He's put people in the NBA overseas, and he's had some of the great athletes that played underneath him. So it was a great opportunity playing underneath him.
Triangle area universities are making their mark in this year's CIAA tournament in Charlotte.
And the event is a showcase not just for basketball, but for social events, scholarships, and reunions. Ken Smith is playing the role of Mr. CIAA and joins us live right now from uptown Charlotte. Ken, how big is your wardrobe?
Well, I'll tell you, not as big as Mr. CIAA's wardrobe. I'll tell you, photographer Mark Simpson and I ran into him earlier this afternoon, just as popular as ever. And he's really one of the showcase pieces for this tournament that's really a showcase for the 12-member schools, 3 of which are in the Triangle area. Now, one athlete who caught our attention this year is a young man who suits up for the Shaw Bears, 28-year-old Jeffery LeGree. He's a standout high school basketball player, but decided to join the Army right out of high school on the GI Bill. He played with the Army basketball team, but never gave up on his dream to play college basketball. When 28-year-old Jeffery LeGree runs basketball drills in the Shaw University gym, he gives it his all.
I don't take nothing for granted.
That focus and dedication can be traced back to LeGree's 8 years in the U.S. Army, including 2 tours of duty in Iraq that were eye-opening.
How the children are fed, where they live, living conditions, and the way we live, it's like, man, it's like some people still complain.
He says the lessons learned as a soldier help him manage his hectic schedule as a student athlete.
Time management has been the key that I've learned while in the military, and it's helped me maintain a 3.67 GPA while here. So.
LeGree's road to Shaw almost took a detour through Virginia State. The coach recruiting him left the Trojans and got hired at Shaw as an assistant.
He was like, Jeff, you coming with me? I was like, Coach, as long as I can play, I just want a couple minutes. A couple minutes a game just to live a dream.
LeGree's basketball skills are evident, but Shaw's head basketball coach says it's the intangibles off the court that make him a team leader.
But when you talk about his maturity level, his character and integrity, honoring our country in that way, that's huge.
Every day is a blessing for me, so I just take it one day at a time.
Oh, man, it's great meeting. Yeah, before we left, he wanted to show us that he had skills. Now, let me give you an idea of the type of young man you just met. He was offered a scholarship, but he turned it down because he said the GI Bill will take care of his college expenses. He wanted another deserving athlete to get that scholarship. Well, he plans to pursue a career in coaching after he graduates from college.
And then following him, it's just like, I finished school. I decided to get my master's after I graduated from Shaw University, get my master's at Ohio University in recreation sports science coaching. And that right there, put I would say, the snap back on the cap. Man, that kind of expand my horizons and knowing the different things that I can do just by having, because I also have an associate's degree in psychology and social science. So that kind of like molded me to understand, hey, I can be a mentor through sports. I've lived a life of, being the ups and downs and not having a great childhood. And now, as you can see, as you're already aware of, led me to be the CEO of Cali Elite Inc. of today.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. That was pretty good, man. So, what made you want to become a mentor for the youth?
That's a deep question. Well, to answer that, I would say I'm a product of my environment, how I was raised. I didn't have that. I had the potential to be, I would say, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, out of my neighborhood. Fairfield, California. I done gave some of the best of the best buckets in my day, I would say. My coaches can vouch for it and stuff like that, but I didn't have the right people in my corner. And to caveat back on what I said about just falling out of school, I knew nothing about the SATs. I knew nothing about the ACTs. I knew nothing about having cumulative GPA. I thought taking 6 PE classes in high school get you over the hump, just enough to play the basketball. But once you leave high school basketball, the world gets real. School gets real. You went from sitting in a classroom from 12 to 16 people to now you're in a classroom full of 40 to 60 to 80 to 100 people in a seminar class. I had some guidance in class where I had friends that looked out for me because I was an athlete, and they helped me take notes. They provided me their notes to copy down or stuff like that. And it wasn't that easy in college. So that's the reason why I flunked out. the first semester of school, the reason why I was kicked out of school, the reason why I bounced from school to school trying to be a product, of who I am, and didn't realize you can't get to the next school without paying off the next school. And this is where I learned about the transcript game. You can't go move forward in your NCAA career without paying off one school because you owe them money. So you cannot leave one school in a debt and start a new school. So that kind of like opened me to learning, like, man, I had to figure this out myself. I had to figure out a way to make it, and then I also had my son at 19 trying to bounce from school to school. So then that requires me to have a job, requires me to be a father, requires me to try to be a student athlete. It was a lot on my plate at 19. So living that life, it made me like, you know what? I need to teach these young men, even some young women. I never, favoritize one sex over the other. Everybody's equal in this game of called life. So teach them, teach the next generation to understand, hey, this is what you need to do in order to be successful. Everybody, I always say this, the most important thing you can give somebody in life is time. Don't waste their time, let alone don't waste yours. So I try to teach them what's I went through, because again, we're part of a generation that teaches you how to run before you walk, teaching you how to walk before you crawl. And I don't believe in that. I believe in that crawl, walk, run, sprint, marathon. Life's a marathon phase. So I can't teach you how to step back if you can't step outside into your life in a normal day-to-day life, and just live it. I can't teach you those. So I will only provide you mental guidance on what I've been through that works for me. It won't work for everybody. But again, I will also, I will set you up to be successful in certain ways. And also, if I can't figure it out, that's why it's called having a good circle of friends, family. I'm gonna put you in the hands of somebody else that may have lived the same life that you live or taken the same steps that you've taken. So you can understand, okay, I can do it. Because again, mental health is real. And a lot of kids is facing that nowadays, and we need to help them to understand that they're not in this alone.
And I gotta say, man, that's pretty impressive. So, what adversities have you faced as a coach or, or a mentor? Like, how do you overcome them?
Well, to answer the first part of that question, adversities you face, when it comes to children in general, the number one thing that I face, I would say, I don't like nobody to take offense to this, would be the parents. Like, the parents, how to say this politically right, is the parents think their child, which they're not wrong about it, let's put it in basketball terms, every child is LeBron James, every student athlete on the female side is a Maya Moore, and sometimes that's not the case. And I feel like some parents need to humble themselves, because if the parents humble themselves in the process, their student athletes will follow. Because that's another thing that we face in today's generation, is the humbleness of our student athletes. Everybody think that they're Steph Curry, shoot the long three. Because you made 1 out of 10, you the GOAT at your high school. Everybody think they got the handle like Kyrie, but they averaging 7 to 10 turnovers a game trying to cross the ball over. And as coaches, we have to teach them student athletes. I'm always a firm believer of just getting it back to the basics. So now, it's so hard to teach the basics, to go back on what I said, is because everybody wants to run before they walk. And now we have student athletes across the game that's inability to listen. They have the inability to communicate. They have the inability to be disciplined down the stretch or disciplined off the court. The inability to be resilient on and off the court. Don't know how to backwards plan when it comes to practice times, game time, Show up right on time thinking, oh, because I'm fresh out the car, I'm supposed to start when you're normally a starter. There's levels to this. And I'm a firm believer, I learned this in the Army, is if one mess up, we all mess up. Because if your brother to the left of you is messing up, well, the team to the right of you gonna pick you up, because they are going to feel the same pain that you're feeling because you were late. And if one do push-ups, we all gonna do push-ups, because I want to teach the student athletes underneath me that let's pick our brothers up, let's pick our sisters up, because you never know what's going on. We should be able to come in practice and realize, hey, Johnny, why you not smiling today? Something wrong with Johnny. Let's pick him up together as a team. Let's not tear him down as an individual. Let's come together as a unit and realize, if one down, we all down. If one smiling, we all smiling. So that is go back to what I said. I need the parents to caveat on what some of these coaches are teaching these young men, these young women, because it will help not only on the court, but it'll help them off the court, at home. And I'm a firm believer of everything starts within the four walls of your home. Go back to, I grew up in the 80s, 90s, and my grandparents used to always say to me, Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when they is old, they will not depart from it. It's a true saying. It's in the Bible for a reason. So we have to train these children how to be positive products of their environment. There's so much negative going on. I believe in the last 90 to 120 days from today, if you look at the murder rate, the ages is 21 and under. Kids killing kids.
Challenging, difficult morning.
Kids, babies killing babies. You have a 6-year-old having access to weapons at home. How is that possible? So again, I don't like burying players. I've been to memorials, candle lightings of players I've coached. I mean, these 12, 13-year-old kids, and they're supposed to be at practice. Parents, leaving them at home because, again, if you look at the single parent rate today, I think it was 82% according to what I've, studied online, are single moms. 82%. That is a large number. So a lot of these kids don't have father figures. And that's why I always say I don't consider myself a coach. I consider myself a father to the kids that I come across. And being that father figure, being that male role model is what they see. I treat all kids the same, like they're my sons. My sons will tell you, playing for my dad is strict. It's true. If you don't have no structure, how you gonna win games? If you ain't got no structure, how you gonna live life? You gotta have, there's structure to life. Kids think because I'm a teenager, I'm a kid, I'm living life, I'm having fun. It's not always gonna be fun. We're gonna have fun now. Dad takes you out, Kings Dominion. We go out to the beach, we go out to shoot hoops, we go bowling, we laugh, we eat. But when it's time to do business, we mean business. And they gotta understand, we gotta understand which hat to wear at certain times in life. And how you overcome that. Like, I've done it before, and this year I'm implement this in my program. Player coaches contracts. We're gonna sign contracts. Now, now they signing contracts for money for the likeness of their names. Now you're about to sign a contract to play for Cali Elite. Truly us, Elite. You gotta understand, hey, when you're on the road, we mean business. It's a business trip. We're gonna have fun after we win. We're gonna have fun after we bring home that #1 trophy. But when we walk in, I wanna see dogs, see the Mamba mentality. Kobe didn't walk into the arena smiling and laughing unless, you know what I'm saying? He didn't enter. Jordan did punch him in the face because he was ready to laugh. He meant business. But again, with the rules change and everything getting soft, I like to say the soft as cotton. The rules of the game, you remember back in the day, you could hand check, push them where you want to lead them, knock them on the floor. Hard foul was a common foul. Now it's a flagrant foul. Now you're getting kicked out of the game for just doing a hard common foul. And it's crazy. So like I said, when it comes time, each year when I train these kids and work with the kids and work with the students and the athletes, I teach them like, hey, as soon as you walk in that building, you shake my hand, sanitize your hands nowadays because we're dealing with, what we're dealing with in our environment. We mean business. And we're gonna handle it that way. Teach them, hey, from the time you take on that 94x50 and to the time you leave that gym door, I need to understand that you're serious. When you warming up, let's work on game shots. I don't need you taking half-court shots. I don't need you thinking you Steph Curry. Steph Curry get paid to do that. You know why? They filming him. He can go to the rafters and throw the ball from the ceiling and make it and get paid for it. You're not getting paid for that. I don't want to see that on my gym floor. So let's understand, until you get there, until you start making that money that you want to make in the game that you love, we mean business. And that's why I said this year we're gonna do player contracts. It's like a job. I'm gonna have you fill out a whole application coming to play for me this year. It's a job. You're not gonna be late to work. What happens when you're late to work? You get fired. What happens when you show up, no call, no show? You get reprimanded. And the one thing I learned in the Army is that meant a lot to me and like woke me up is the Army gonna take it where it hurts. They gonna mess with your pockets. You gonna work 45 days on extra duty, no pay. And you gotta live in the barracks and you gotta eat out of the defect. Do y'all know how hard that is? It's tough. And people don't understand that. Like the Army really the military, I can't really say just the Army. I say the Army because I'm a product of the military through the Army, is you have to live and learn. And then teenagers, I would say between the ages of birth and 9 years old, have fun. Between the ages of 9 to 13, let's develop them traits, them daily traits that I need you to have as a young teen, as a young man, young woman. And from the ages of 13 to 18, it's time to it's time to handle adversity. When you falling, parents, in my eyes, it's how I coach. Don't pick them up. Teach them how to get back up. Because if you keep giving that helping hand, they're not gonna learn. So that is how I help my student athletes. When they falling and handling adversity, of course, I say I'm a king of like, hey, you wanna do some push-ups. But I'm gonna give you that word of encouragement to help you get back up. And that's how I handle the motivation, the adversity, and how I overcome that adversity. There's no need to get mad. One thing I've always learned in life, you can never control something you don't got control of.